Hello, and welcome to my presentation on the food history and culture of Haiti. Haiti, the country that inhabits the western one-third of Hispaniola, holds a special place in my heart, as I have spent some time in the cities of Port-au-Prince and Jacmel, aiding the people of Haiti after the devastating earthquakes of 2010. While there, I fell in love with the community, and my friends that I made while I was there were kind enough to introduce me to one of my favorite cuisines, Haitian Creole. Haiti has a tumultuous history, full of resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity, and this irrepressible spirit is reflected through one of the most unique and delicious flavor palettes in the world. Before colonialism conquered the New World, the island we now know as Hispaniola was inhabited by the indigenous people known as the Taino. The Taino were a hunter-gatherer society that relied on the versatile cassava plant as a staple in their diet, as well as other starch-heavy foods like yams. The Taino would utilize shifting agricultural techniques, where they would rotate various portions of land for farming in order to maximize the growth potential for every crop. Along with the cultivation of cassava and yams, the Taino also cultivated other fruits and vegetables, such as papayas, pineapples, corn, peanuts, peppers, and many different beans that were native to their homeland. While their diet mainly consisted of these rich crops, they also found protein sources from the warm oceans that surrounded their island, and sources such as fish, like the red snapper, shellfish, like the conch meat that is found in conch shells, as well as various small animals within the tropical jungles of Hispaniola, like birds, various reptiles, and small mammals. The Taino were first to discover how delicious food can be after being roasted over an open flame. They were the pioneers of a process that they called barbecua, or barbecue, which would later become barbecue for the betterment of humanity. They used green, fire-resistant bearded fig branches for cooking. They would marinate foods in tropical herbs and spices to enhance the natural flavors and to preserve them after cooking. The Tainos would call this sacred fire pit, and this method of cooking was valuable to them, as it would extend the time that these meats and other foods would take to spoil. The Taino were also great at using the cassava plant, what we know as the yuca, for many forms of food. They used this plant along with its roots to create flour, extract juice, harvest tapioca, and many other useful tools in their cuisine. This versatile plant was a staple in their diet, and through adaptable techniques, they were able to maximize the efficient use of this plant for their rich and adaptable community. In 1492, Christopher Columbus landed on what he dubbed La Isla Española, which is where Hispaniola originated from. And what he saw was a beautiful land rich in potential for the cultivation of various crops. After Spain conquered the island in 1493, they enslaved the native communities on the island, forcing them to work on sugarcane plantations. This cruel subjugation of humanity, paired with various diseases brought over by the Spaniards, led to the death of the majority of the Taino. Due to the lack of slave labor due to the death of the native people of Hispaniola, the Spaniards then shipped in African slaves, with the majority being of West African descent, to tend to their new plantations. When this happened, African natives introduced various new crops to the island, such as okra, ackee, which is a red and yellow fruit, taro, which is another edible root, pigeon peas, which is the seeds of an African shrub, and various other spices to their diet. This is the first instance of cuisine fusion occurring in Haiti's history. And through the introduction of new foods that could be grown on Haitian soil, the gastronomic palate of the land took on a new identity. By 1700, the country of France had full control of the island of Hispaniola, and they ruled over the land for over 100 years, before Haiti gained their independence in 1804. While France was in control, they used slaves to build an empire based off the cultivation of various crops, such as sugarcane, coffee, cotton, and cocoa. During this time, the world-famous techniques found in French culinary kitchens blended with the unique ingredients found in Haiti, as well as the Taino-based cooking techniques already found throughout the island's Haitian communities. With this blending of cuisine found a blending of language, as the African languages of slaves began to mold together with French, Spanish, and even elements of ancient Taino languages and Arabic languages to form the foundation of what is now known as Haitian Creole. In 1803, the Haitian Revolution, led by Jean-Jacques Dessalines, defeated French forces and was declared for the first time on January 1st, 1804, to be the sovereign nation of Haiti by their leader. This made the new country of Haiti the first black republic in the world and the second ever to gain their independence from a European power after the United States. Today, Haitian food culture reflects the rich culinary history that influenced the beautiful country to be what it is today. Much like their Taino ancestors, Haitian food has many starch-based foods anchor their dishes. These staples include rice, various types of beans, plantains, yams, and many other vegetables that flourish as crops in Haiti. Cultivating fruits such as guavas, papayas, and pineapples also add great tropical flavors to this delicious flavor palette. Haiti has some iconically fantastic foods, and here are a few of them. Griot gets its name from the term griot, which is a person of high standing, such as a community leader, a master of ceremony, or a tribal spokesperson across many West African cultures. Griot is a dish that consists of cubes of pork that are then gently simmered in a rich broth full of aromatics and citric juices before being deep fried in this iconic dish from Haiti. Served with pickles, which is pickled shredded vegetables, similar to coleslaw, but much spicier and vinegar based, is found on the side, which is used to cut through the richness of the meat. Paired together, this meal is a savory, spicy delight. Lambi, Creole for conch, is a delectable meat that is harvested from conch shells by local divers on Haitian shores. Lambi can be prepared in various manners, and there are many stews, barbecue, and spicy-based meals that let this unique seafood take center stage. My favorite way to eat lambi is barbecued, as it has a combination of savory and salty flavors that do well to pair with the vibrant and fresh taste of the local fruits and vegetables. When cooked right, lambi sort of melts in your mouth, and no day on the beach in Haiti is complete without this iconic meal. Legume is a thick vegetable stew, a mashed mixture of eggplant, cabbage, chayote, spinach, watercress, and many other vegetables, depending on the cook's preference. Haitian legume recipes are all unique depending on where it is being cooked, as this is due to the traditional passing down of recipes through Haitian families throughout the island. These savory stews are typically based on the household épis, which is a combination of green onions, thyme, parsley, peppers, and garlic mashed together to make a marinade or paste that is then stored in jars. This creates the foundation of many dishes such as legume in Haitian households. When creating legume, All the ingredients are slow cooked all day, from early in the morning to supper time, with the chef's choice of ingredients, which can include any meat, and it is done so in order to soften the meat of choice to make it tender and enrich the broth with the flavors of the veggies and the meat. Doing so always fills the house with rich aromas that could make anyone's mouth water, making it very hard to wait for the meal to be served. But trust me, it is well worth the wait. The most important meal in Haiti is none other than soup jumeau, and this is due to its history in Haiti. In French colonized Haiti, this dish was only available to the upper class elite French people living on the island, and it was made by their Haitian slaves to be consumed by them. It was never to be eaten by these slaves, according to the French, as it was a meal that was too good for them. When Haiti declared their independence in 1804, this pumpkin based soup was reclaimed by the people of Haiti as a symbol of freedom, as a meal that had been denied to them for 100 years was a fulfilling symbolic gesture of independence for the proud new nation of Haiti. This pumpkin based soup is slow cooked with various other vegetables, such as carrots, and served with either beef or pork. Every Independence Day, which is also New Year's, this dish is served all throughout Haiti as a means to celebrate the resilient soul of the Haitian community. This meal is also served every Sunday in some households to remind family members of the freedom they enjoy, and as a sign of gratitude towards one another. Didi kole, or Haitian rice and beans, is Haiti's national dish and is an iconic staple in Haitian cuisine. This flavorful meal consists of red beans and rice that is home to a myriad of herbs and spices that play perfectly together. There are many regional versions of this dish that has different beans as well as different starch grains that can be added, such as cornmeal. And this meal can be eaten daily, but it is still a tradition to eat it on holidays such as Christmas or Easter. Diricole can be eaten by itself, or it can be served next to other Haitian traditional foods like spicy cuts of meat, fried plantains, or even pickles. In summation, Haiti's food culture and cuisine is a beautiful reflection of the country's history and the unique blend of European, African, and Caribbean gastronomic elements create some of the best tasting food in the world. Haitian food has also impacted the American food palette by way of influencing Louisiana Creole. And Haitian food is also growing as a food titan within the United States. If you ever get the chance, you should try this great tasting food for yourself and enjoy the wonderful tropical flavors that come along with it. Thank you.